No doubt the economy is hot. There are a lot of jobs out there. And so if you're like me and you've got a job, one of the issues that I'm sure you contemplate is, do I have a bad boss? And if I have a bad boss, can I fix it or do I need to move on? Let's talk to a personal development and success coach. Our friend Kelly Accetta is on the Newsmakers line. Kelly, welcome back to WHO. How are you, my friend?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me back.
First of all, if I've got a bad boss, Kelly, is it possible to change it, or should I just think about heading out the door? What's been your experience?
Well, it just really, there's so many different avenues that we can take. We can get repositioned in a company. We can go and be a direct report for somebody else. And there's also behavior modification training that's available for bosses that are just abusive or don't know how to properly motivate and inspire their team and do it in a very destructive way.
Kelly, how would you define a bad boss? I mean, I don't want to be that kind of employee in which my boss is just doing what a boss is supposed to do, but I just don't like it. So are there just traits that you identify for a company like this is a person that's not leading effectively?
Well, they're talking about in the research, they're talking about a triad that's called the dark triad.
Dark triad.
Where bravado and ego have helped these individuals rise to a place of leadership when in reality they are narcissists. They're suffering from Machiavellianism and psychopathy that just is very self-centered and very all or nothing of their way or the highway kind of a person. And it's very easy to tell if you're working with someone like that. First and foremost, it's never their fault. Anything that ever goes wrong, they're placing blame on anyone and everyone else. And as a leader, that's the last thing that a good leader does. Also, they're talking poorly about their direct reports or the employees that are under them, or even worse, they're talking poorly about their bosses. So if you have someone going around the office and they're always talking poorly about everybody, they're never taking any credit for something going wrong, but they're also taking credit for everything that goes right. That is definitely someone who suffers from that dark triad.
Well, Kelly, that is an interesting way to pull it, dark triad, because there are a lot of people in the office, including me. I've had this experience over my career where I look at a guy and I just think, man, that guy is a jerk. But I also think because he was a jerk, somebody in the company went, man, that's the right person to put into leadership. You know, they say what's on their mind and they take no guff and they're not afraid to order people around. So are companies prone to promote these folks that have this dark triad?
Well, unfortunately, the old expression that we heard from our mothers, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, a lot of times their bravado, it shines the spotlight on themselves, and that's what these types of individuals love. They love to be in the spotlight, so they're braggarts, they're overconfident, they tell you they're capable of doing something even though they aren't. That's a very strong recipe for someone getting promoted who absolutely shouldn't be there. So as anyone running a company or in HR, we have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and looking at the facts behind the person. And, you know, does the resume add up to the skills? It's very, very important that these type of people do not get into a leadership position because it is hard once they're there to determine whether or not they're the problem or the team is the problem.
Right. No, that's a great point. So, Kelly, I'm the employee, and let's say I go to HR, and I know in this hot job environment, HR takes very seriously keeping its employees happy. But when is there a point where I say things are not going to change and I might have to move on? When do I recognize I'm arriving at that point?
Well, I call it the 3 Ds: discuss, document, and depart. First of all, you need to discuss it with the individual. I think, we've talked about this before. A lot of times you can just handle a disagreement just by going to the person directly and having that respectful conversation. Sometimes these people are so narcissistic, they don't even realize what they're doing. So discuss directly with your boss the issues that you're having. Then if it doesn't change, you need to start documenting the different things that are happening. If you're getting abusive emails, abusive texts, whatever you need to document, and then go to HR and see if his superior will have any effect on him changing his behavior, or they can take him and send him to some training to have him understand how not to be such a self-centered narcissist.
Right.
And then at some point, you have to just depart. If it's not getting any better and this person really is a true narcissist, you need to just find a new home.
Isn't it true, though, Kelly? I would think in this environment where there are so many jobs available right now that companies really will react to something that you say. A lot of times people labor away and go, it's just useless for me to complain. But this seems like the right environment if you feel that you're being unfairly treated to go to HR. They're very conscious of keeping their employees happy right now, aren't they?
Jeff, you are absolutely right. The market out there for employees is so sparse. And, when a company hires someone and they've been with them a long time, they've invested a lot of money in training that person. So you're absolutely correct in the regard that if someone is a toxic boss and you are really having an issue, don't suffer in silence. Let HR know. Discuss with them directly, then let HR know, and you will have an advocate to help you resolve the issue. And like I shared earlier, possibly get moved into a different role or underneath a different person to report to. There's lots of options companies would like to do instead of losing an employee.
Kelly Accetta is the name of my guest. The book that she's written is called How to Defuse the Landmines We Plant in Our Lives. Kelly, always great insight. Thanks for talking to me today.